Good morning and welcome to Breaking Points. Emily, how you doing?
Great. I like the tie.
Thank you.
I don't know if I've seen that tie before. It looks great.
Tennis rackets on it.
Ryan is very sporty. Little known fact.
Oh, and by the way, big thank you to premium supporters here. This week, Sagar had a pretty cool scoop where he got a bunch of documents related to the completely insane case out of Las Vegas, where a pedophile who was in town from Israel and worked basically directly for Netanyahu was arrested and then let go again. You guys have been following this story. Sagar did the old-fashioned thing, made a bunch of phone calls, got the documents. That video was sent out to premium subscribers the night before. The rest of the world learned about it the next day on the show. So one more reason to go to breakingpoints.com and pony up.
And it's a good reason. It's a good reason.
Very good reason.
So on today's show, we're going to start with updates from Ukraine. Donald Trump is ruling out U.S. troops on the ground, but we'll see if that's actually the case.
On which ground? On the ground in Ukraine, but not necessarily Venezuela, which we'll also talk to.
Exactly, yes.
We need those troops. It's like a game of Risk. He's only got like one little guy. He can either move it to Ukraine or down to South America.
Yes.
South America, there's only one route to defend, so Trump's like, that I can get my extra turns on the roll there.
Venezuela and Mexico.
My extra troops on the roll.
Right.
At a turn, yeah.
Yeah, so Venezuela and Mexico potentially on the table. So we will talk about updates in Ukraine, but we'll also talk about how the administration is looking at potential plans for Venezuela and Mexico. Wild leaked audio from Andrew Cuomo in the Hamptons. You're not going to want to miss that one. Representative Ro Khanna is here with us. Ryan, we also have another interesting guest.
Yes, Arab Barghouti is the son of Marwan Barghouti. And one of the criticisms you often hear is, where's the Palestinians' Nelson Mandela? And the answer is, well, they either probably killed him early or he's in an Israeli detention center being brutalized. And a lot of people believe that Marwan Barghouti is a version of the Palestinian Nelson Mandela. He was recently threatened by Itamar Ben-Gvir, who visited, like the courageous man he is, visited him in his jail cell to basically threaten his life. So we're going to be joined by his son later today.
Big interview. And more updates on tariffs. So Trump actually expanded tariffs on steel and aluminum yesterday. So we're going to break down what that means for the economy. Let's go to Ukraine, Ryan, and start with this clip of President Trump on Fox and Friends yesterday morning. There was a little bit of anxiety in MAGA world after Donald Trump was asked at that big White House summit whether or not that would mean U.S. boots on the ground, whether or not part of this negotiation could include American troops. So does the security guarantee look like potentially American troops defending Ukraine in case of another invasion by Russia? And Trump said basically, we'll find out. We'll find out. He said, we'll find out over the course of the meeting. And so because of that, it looks like, he got this question on Fox and Friends. And this is going to be a big part of whatever negotiation is hashed out. So it's well worth paying attention to what Donald Trump is saying. So this is Trump on Fox and Friends yesterday.
What kind of assurances do you feel like you have that going forward and, past this Trump administration, it won't be American boots on the ground defending that border?
Well, you have my assurance, I'm president, and I'm just trying to stop people from being killed. Russia is a powerful military nation, whether people like it or not. It's a powerful nation. It's a much bigger nation. It's not a war that should have been started. You don't do that. You don't take on a nation that's 10 times your size and, military experts. The Ukrainian soldiers were brave as hell because they're fighting a force that's much, much bigger and in theory much more powerful. It's not like they've stopped. I assume you've all seen the map. A big chunk of territory is taken.
A lot of wiggle room, of course. Actually, as John Bolton himself pointed out the night before on CNN, he was saying, basically, he's almost gleeful. Can't wait for MAGA to hear that maybe there'll be boots on the ground in Ukraine. And then he goes on to say, basically, we already had that. We were doing train and assist missions after 2014 on the ground in Ukraine. And that point is actually one of the few things John Bolton says that's worth really camping out on, Ryan, because that could be indeed what the security guarantee looks like.
Yeah, it's good to pay attention whenever Bolton is happy about something. It's good jurist to say, okay, wait a minute, tap the brakes here.
Right.
Trump has also floated, well, maybe there will just be, American air power. and it'll be European boots on the ground. But American air power, for as aggressive as the foreign policy establishment has been in against Russia and in support of Ukraine over the last couple decades, they have not established a no-fly zone. They have not floated putting American troops there. They have not said that they might have American warplanes flying over Ukraine, directly then tangling with Russian warplanes.
Right.
Which means war with Russia.
I mean, it's not literal boots on the ground, but it's boots over the ground.
And the boots could be on the ground.
Yeah.
If things don't go right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, this is a real ramping up of American involvement in this conflict, which was, quite the opposite of what we were told we were going to get here.
Right. So the Kremlin is also right now, according to BBC, playing down talk of this imminent summit, the idea that it's happening in the next couple of weeks. They are currently downplaying. Meanwhile, this is another banger from Trump yesterday. Let's roll A2.
I want to end it. We're not losing American lives. We're not losing American soldiers. We're losing Russian and Ukrainian, mostly soldiers, some people as missiles hit wrong spots or get lobbed into cities like Kiev and towns. But, if I can save 7,000 people a week from being killed, I think that's I want to try and get to heaven if possible. I'm hearing I'm not doing well. I hear I'm really at the bottom of the totem pole. But if I can get to heaven, this will be one of the reasons. Well, I think I saved a lot of lives with India.
Okay, so that was more from the Fox and Friends hit where Trump, towards the end of it, said he wants to get to heaven, but he feels like he's at the bottom of the totem pole. He has been,
he knows he's led a very bad life. He's aware of what he has done. To every, I don't think he's ever worked with a contractor or subcontractor that he hasn't ripped off.
Yep.
I've met people that he's whose lives he's destroyed just because he didn't pay on time and pay in full for what he owed. That's just the little stuff from when he was a fake mogul.
A fogel.
So he knows where he's headed if he believes in any of this stuff. But he has been talking about the human cost of the Russia-Ukraine war for years now. Mm-hmm. To the point where you have to start to credit it as something that he actually believes. He actually genuinely does seem to care about the scale of the loss, the human loss between on those front lines, which a lot of presidents throughout American history have just seen those things as numbers, particularly if they're not even Americans.
Well, we were talking, you used the risk metaphor earlier in the show as we were opening up, and that's actually how the Boltons of the world, it's this callous sort of detached idea that you're playing risk with real people's lives.
The plastic troops die, you take them off the board. That's all.
It's in the interest of the greater
They literally
good.
see them as little plastic toys that you can move around.
Right. That is the means that justify their great end. Is how they picture it in their own minds. Now, what is I think somewhat worrying, extremely worrying about that is this war is a stalemate. It is a meat grinder, and that's where even people who are skeptical of the entire involvement, the U.S.'s entire involvement in this conflict, are desperate right now to get an end to the conflict. And that might mean some type of really ambiguous, vague, abusable security guarantee that because this is a conflict with no obvious end in sight, I think everybody knows, even if part of the Donbass is given to Russia, or if Russia has secured part of the Donbass by the end of these negotiations, then it's not over. It means they're still sharing a border. It's very obviously not over forever. And so 5 years from now, after another flare-up, do you have U.S. Planes, for example, air cover and deaths in Ukraine because of whatever is hashed out now that people are desperate to end the conflict?
Yeah, right. And maybe it'll never be over. But Trump is in a tricky spot where he's trying to find something where there's overlap between the two sides here. Mm-hmm. That Ukraine clearly seems at this point willing to concede that they're going to lose territory, but they don't want to just have like you said, like a 1-year pause in the fighting,
right?
And then they get run over again,
right?
On the other hand, that's more of a concern on the Russian side in the sense that Russia has the momentum and Russia has the resources. Like, they don't actually need the pause as much as Ukraine would need the pause. So what is the face-saving victory that Putin can get? You know, he'll get all four
Lots
of those
territory.
oblasts.
Yeah.
He seems to desperately want Zelensky gone and a pliable or pliant, you know, basically Russian-friendly regime put in power in Kyiv. And so maybe, like, so I assume that's where they go. Like, if they do get this peace deal,
Yeah.
then Russia's effort from then on will be trying to take power.
Yeah, this strain of Russian nationalism that sees Kyiv as an essential part of the Russian nation, lowercase n, is not going anywhere. Ukrainian nationalism is not going anywhere. And these borders, even if Russia takes extra territory by the end of the negotiations, are still borders.
Yeah, and the country that the Ukraine that would be left would be kind of like the heartland of the far-right Russian Ukrainian nationalists. So its politics would get even further to the right.
Yeah.
Especially and we've talked about this before, like in the U.S., like the more, and in most countries, the more miserable things get, the more reactionary people get if there's no kind of Bernie Sanders populism to channel that into. And with the amount of corruption in Ukraine, people don't have faith in somebody like that to be able to, that's why Zelensky kind of, because he was a celebrity and was seen as outside the system, had the ability to capture the imagination of people. Also because he said he was going to make a peace deal.
Right.
Which he did not, because he was pressured by the right.
So
to not do it. So, it's very difficult to see how there's overlap.
let's actually, I'm going to skip ahead an element because we were just talking about the Russian side of the negotiation. This is A4, so we can roll this VO of Sergei Lavrov, who is saying, basically, this conflict has clear causes. Calling it an unprovoked Russian attack is childish babble. That's part of this translation. But Ryan, lots of predictable bluster coming from the Russian side right now. And that's, you know, there's nothing shocking about Lavrov saying what he said in that clip. But it's not like, I mean, I don't know. It feels like Trump is potentially in another Lucy with the football situation. I hope that's not the case. People stop dying. But to your point about the Russian motivations to actually wind things down, I don't know. But this could very well all fizzle out in the next few days.
It could. You know, but Putin has victory in front of him if he just says yes. Like
Well,
Trump,
it depends on what
Trump
he
is
thinks.
willing to give him the store at this point.
Right.
And then then it becomes a question of what do these security guarantees look like?
Right.
Trump clearly, like, the idea that Trump would commit American troops to defend Ukrainian territory produced enough kind of fear and anxiety on the right that he had to kind of go on Fox and Friends to then walk it back. So there isn't much that the U.S. can really do anyway, because the American people don't want to do it.
Right. Right. Yeah, that's exactly right. This is another Lavrov clip from RT, who is saying you cannot discuss Ukraine security guarantees without Russia. He says that's, quote, pointless. So we'll see if Russia will be at the table with Ukraine in the days and weeks to come, because that is, again, what is on the table is a trilateral or even just a bilateral between Russia and Ukraine directly. So on that note, let's roll this clip of White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt responding to a question from the New York Times about this anecdote from the wild, extraordinary scenes at the White House on Monday that Donald Trump called Vladimir Putin while Western leaders were all gathered at the White House. This is A3.
The point is to get everybody on the same page. Why wouldn't Trump just take the call from Putin while the other leaders were in the room? He said it would be disrespectful to do that. But why is it disrespectful?
With all due respect, only a reporter from the New York Times would ask a question like that, Sean. The president met with all of these European leaders at the White House 48 hours after sitting down with President Putin on American soil. In fact, there was so much progress in the readout that was given to these European leaders immediately following his meeting with President Putin that every single one of them got on a plane plane 48 hours later and flew to the United States of America. These leaders, who this war is in their backyard, are very grateful that the president took that call and that he was there to provide them with a readout of Russia's thinking on this.
Well, I guess, Ryan, there's something to be said for Trump perhaps being the only major American politician that could actually bring Vladimir Putin to the table is Zelensky at this point.
If he can.
If he can do
Putin
it.
won't say his name.
Zelensky,
Yeah.
yes. So if he could pull it off, I can't really envision anyone else having gotten them both to the same table. And if
I mean, the
getting
only
them
way to
both
do it
the
is the
table-
way that the Times guy said, just be like, oh, by the way, Vlad's on speaker. Hey, Vlad, we're all here.
Say hi to my boy.
Yeah. Tell him what you told me, because it persuaded me immediately. Then we have to remember that, like, Trump, the whole thing is just comical, art of the deal. Like, he goes in demanding a ceasefire out of his negotiation with Putin, and comes out of it like, you know what, actually, Putin's right. There shouldn't be a ceasefire. There should be a comprehensive peace deal, and the Europeans are wrong. And the Europeans were so appreciative of that they, as Caroline Levitt says, they immediately hopped on a plane to fly to the United States to thank Trump for doing so wonderfully and to get more readouts from him. Yeah, they really appreciated that.
Lead story.
Wasn't panic.
Lead story in RT right now is U.S. realistic about chances of Ukraine peace, Trump aid. And that is tagged to comments from Monica Crowley saying that the conflict between Moscow and Kyiv will not be settled overnight. So there's some cold water for your Monday morning, or your Wednesday morning, feels like Monday morning, peace hopes.
Yeah, the conversation with John Mearsheimer that Sagar and I had on Saturday, I thought was really instructive, and people should go back and watch that if they want to understand the difference between the ceasefire and the comprehensive peace deal. It made me think of, and this is not a kind of moral analogy, but of the American Civil War. Like the South often wanted a ceasefire once the thing got started and the Union started to roll. And they even, in the North, they were running an anti-war candidate. They would call themselves anti-war because they wanted to stop the war because the North was winning the war. And up in the North, they were like, no, we're not doing a ceasefire. We want a comprehensive peace that involves a revolution here that is going to see emancipation and a reordering of American society.
Right.
We're gonna end this. We're gonna free the slaves. We want a full-on peace deal. Obviously, Putin is not Abraham Lincoln, but he wants a complete reordering of Ukrainian society.
Yes, right.
He doesn't want to just stop the fighting.
Not a
right
Band-Aid.
now.
Yeah, right.
Hey, if you like that video, hit the like button or leave a comment below. It really helps get the show to more people.
And if you'd like to get the full show ad-free and in your inbox every morning, you can sign up at breakingpoints.com.
That's right. Get the full show, help support the future of independent media at breakingpoints.com.